Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 342. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today we're going to be talking to the 31-year-old founder of Figures Communications, Mr. Freddie Figures. Now, Freddie has an amazing story by being abandoned by his birth mother and being adopted at 2 days old by his parents, Mr. and Mrs. Figures. And at a young age of 15, got his first contract to program computers. Now, subsequent to that, Freddie has built the only Black-owned cell phone company in the United States, valued at over $60 million. Now, before we get to today's interview, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family, and please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and my resource links, such as the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses, and 2 platforms I've created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide Black economy, BeSmartByBlack.com and Hire Black Freelancers. Also, I do want to mention the new rebranded, rebooted Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Academy is available, so make sure you check that out at the end of the show. Now, let's get ready for today's show. We are live here with Mr. Freddie Figures, the head CEO and founder of Figures Communications. Freddie, how are you today, brother?
Pretty good, Brother Jones. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Brother, you've got a tremendous amount of success, man, at an early age, and we're going to get into all of that. But first, for the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members that aren't familiar with you, just give us a little background on who you are and where you're from.
Yes, I'm Freddie Figures. I'm an American inventor, president and CEO of Figures Communications. Figures Communications is an American telecommunications company that provides cell phone service, mobile broadband, and international calling services. We also manufacture our own devices such as smartphones, consumer electronics, such as televisions, earbuds, and healthcare devices as well.
Man, brother, I got to ask you, how old are you, man?
I just turned 31.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want the light bulb to go off to all you Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family members that are watching or listening to this interview. This young brother's 31 years old and he's doing tremendous things. So age isn't it. You don't have to wait until you're 50 years old to start your business. So you can start your business at any time that you deem or you feel necessary. I know you have a very interesting backstory also. Can you share with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family a little bit about your background and your parents who adopted you?
Yes. So my parents that adopted me, oh goodness, were my everything. My father was a maintenance worker for Florida State University, and my mother worked as a sharecropper on a small farm in South Georgia. And my parents, they made the ultimate sacrifice. They didn't have that educational level that you would think of as of what you need as a high school diploma or degree. My parents had wisdom. They was much older. At an early age, my father, at the age of 8, he bought me a non-working computer from Goodwill. Mm-hmm. This computer was a 1989 all-in-one Macintosh, non-functioning. We bought it for $23.
Wow.
I was always fascinated with computers, so I always wanted one, but at the time we never could afford one.
Right.
So when we took this computer home, immediately I tried to power it on. I couldn't get any power from it.
Right.
So I was like, okay, my father has a soldering gun around the house, being that he was a maintenance worker, so I'm gonna play with it.
Right.
I took the computer apart. I saw in the circuit board, just by looking at it with no knowledge at all, looking at, and I saw a capacitor that was burst open and had a small acid leak. So my father had radio components all around the house and alarm clocks. So what I did was I actually cut parts out of from the circuit board from the radios and put inside of the computer, which was a small capacitor on the power supply.
Mm-hmm.
I soldered it, and voila, I got that computer to power on.
Wow.
To this day, I still have that computer.
Get
And
out of here.
and at an early age like that, that was my first startup into saying, hey, this is something that I really have a passion for, and I really want to go for it. So I started out playing with that computer and writing small code on it, and doing the most I could at that time, because again, the processor was nothing like compared to today, but we did several upgrades to it.
Cool. In addition to that, man, share with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family how you were adopted and how that happened, because that situation is touching.
Yeah. So I mean, so with that, it's always been a sensitive subject to me. At an early age, I was always thought like you're not wanted, but hey, once you get older, you understand, certain situations in life, you can't let those circumstances define who you are. My biological mother threw me away like day-to-day trash. And I was adopted by, my parents, Nathan and Betty Figures. My biological family, to this day, I've never met them, don't know anything about them.
Right.
I was adopted at 2 days old, and knowing my parents was in foster care.
Right.
And knowing the situation that I came out of, most of the kids that was in foster care that my parents took care of, they had families, but for my situation, I didn't have anybody. So they didn't want to send me through that system. So they took me in and raised me as their own. And not to this day, I've never heard, my father transitioned in 2014, but my mother, I never heard her say, "You're not my child."
That's a blessing, brother. So
Yes,
you literally, they actually found you outside by the garbage.
So the HRS, the State Department of Children and Family Services now are the ones that found me and positioned me into the foster home. Then then was adopted from there.
Yeah. So your biological mother actually left you outside.
Yeah, she just threw me away. And I mean that there's so many, people, they don't really talk about it, but there's so many stories like that across America.
Right.
That happens every day. And growing up, I thought, hey, I didn't know what the situation was until I learned that around the age of 9. And at first that kind of made me feel unwanted, but again, circumstances and situations are different for everyone. And at that time, maybe my biological mother didn't have the mental capacity to take care of a child. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. That could be a blessing, brother. Because you never know you never know what could have happened if that you didn't have your adoptive parents or your.
Oh yes, they were my everything. They're the reason that I'm here where I am today now.
That's a blessing.
At the age of 8, I wanted to be a quarterback, but my parents was much older, so they didn't believe in boy don't go outside and play no ball and break nothing. So they didn't really believe in that. So my father got me an encyclopedia set, and my favorite thing was to read. So I continue that on to this day.
Man, so let me ask you, did you have a natural proficiency with computers and programming, or was it something that you had to really work hard at?
It was something that naturally just hit me. When I got the computer at home, that really just took control of me. Okay. And I mean, like literally, I was just fascinated, and I was obsessed with that computer.
Mm-hmm.
And, just even branching out from that, how I really got into the workplace industry was, it was an after school program called Children Are Our Future.
Okay.
And I was sitting there in the computer lab while all the other children are outside on recess. I was basically the teacher's pet, Mr. Horace Fitzgerald, and he would allow me to clean up the classroom. So when he used to leave, I used to, get some of the older computers, put them on a workstation desk, and actually start repairing them.
Wow.
Some of the computers had, boot screen issues. Back in the day, we used to call it the blue screen of death.
Right.
Windows
Yeah.
XP. So I've kind of mastered to get around that without reformatting the operating system, and repairing those computers. And I'm doing this at an age of 11, 12. So
Wow.
they were like, wow. So the executive director of that program at that time was also the mayor of my city, which was a very small rural city called Quincy, Florida. It's in North Florida, south of Georgia, 18 miles west of Tallahassee. So that's the exact location. So she actually had an opportunity, and she took me up to the city of Quincy, and gave me an opportunity to become a computer technician. I had a full-time job working on their computers.
Are you
And that's why,
at what age, brother?
At 12. So I was working part-time, then going back to school, then coming back. So it was really amazing at that time. And that was my first start in getting, started with computers, and mastering all of the hardware peripheral and everything about them.
That's amazing, man. So in terms of at that young age, how did it feel to be able to make your own money doing something that you were proficient in, and also something that you enjoyed? How did that feel?
It was beautiful to me at that age. I was really excited. I got to the point where on the business side that it was bad, because people knew my passion and my love for it. And at a as a kid, people say, "Hey, repair my laptop, I'll pay you in candy." So so the money, I've always told people this, never have a passion and greed for money. I mean, if you do something good, the money's going to come. Have a passion for something you do. I meet people all the time that's been in the industry for 10, 12 years and say, "I hate my job." So why are you doing it? You have to change that mindset. You have to love what you do and have a passion for it. And that's when you will, continue to grow.
Yeah. Nah, that's powerful, man. I was reading in one of an article that you had, man, that you actually quit school to do a contract, man.
Yes, sir.
Tell the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family a little bit about that. And what grade were you in, and how did that jumpstart you?
Yes, sir. So that was around the age of 15, 16 years old. I had an opportunity to write a computer code for a oil calibration system. And they was going to pay another corporation almost $4 million to create this program. I went to them and said, "Hey, the same corporation that that declined your offer because they didn't want to take it at the time." I said, "Hey, I could do it." And I wrote up the proposal, showed them exactly how to actually do it, and I actually did the scope of work without even getting paid for it, and did that for over $1 million. And that was the first time I said, "Hey, listen, I've got to go directly into the private sector." So it was kind of a bad taste in my parents' mouth, because they wanted to go school, work, retirement, but I wanted to break that cycle.
Yeah. So, man, at that young age, man. So what grade you were in? What, 10th grade, 11th grade?
I was going to the 10th, and I wanted to go directly into the private sector. And then that's when I figured out, like, okay, hey, I could turn my passion into a lucrative opportunity.
Definitely. So now, when all your other friends are out there going to prom, playing football and all that stuff, how did you deal with that from a social aspect, since you were already in the workforce and you were already, building wealth for yourself? And I know at that age, most kids, I know at 15 or 16, I wasn't even thinking about anything like that. So how did that dynamic work for you with your friends and socially?
So going back to like where I come from and how I was raised, again, I was raised by much older people. My parents, when the stoplight is on, you better be in the house.
Right.
With friends, I still had great friends that I grew up with,
Hmm.
but I had to transition my mind around, okay, I'm born here, but
Right.
I don't want to die here.
Gotcha.
And my parents, again, just being around them and mimicking them, they were stay at home bodies.
Hmm.
They didn't bother anybody, and it was kind of like to themselves. So for me, it was pretty much easy to adjust. I would sit
Okay.
in front of my computer and I could, just work day and night from it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That makes sense, man. Oh, you know what? I forgot to backtrack a little bit because I in your story in your bio, I heard that one of your first inventions was something to assist your father.
Yes.
And talk about that and talk about how that's shaped the overall ideology of your company.
So that was my initial start. When I turned that, pain into um, profit, but it still was something that I could never, bring back. My
Right.
father, again, they adopted me later in life, so they
Right.
was in their 70s. So my father started developing dementia, Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
So in his cognitive state, he couldn't, walk from the living room to the bathroom. But when he was sundowning, he used to wander off.
Right.
He would get up in the morning and he would walk 10 miles and, we couldn't find him.
Mhm.
Some days he would forget to put on his shirt or his pants, but he always remembered to put on his shoes.
Okay.
So what I did was I built a circuit board. I put inside the sole of his shoe. I put in a WAN card, a 90 megahertz speaker, and a microphone. So I could at any given time, I could say, "Hey, Dad, where are you?" And I would come directly into a loudspeaker into his shoe. I could tell if he's standing up or sitting down. And once he says one word, a notification will pop up on my phone, and I would just get in my car and drive directly to him.
Wow.
And at the age of 18, while I was just turning, that was kind of a very depressing side as well, because when
Right.
I sold the program, that's when my father transitioned. So literally like 2 days after. Um, and I sold that to a software company that then turned around and licensed that to the company that we know today as like Life Alert, the
Wow.
remote patient monitoring systems. So I sold
Mhm.
that program for 2.2 million,
Wow.
but worked way more than that now. So
Right.
again, you live and learn, and I still have my father's shoe to this day. Actually, it's literally right behind me.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh man.
yeah, so
That's
yep,
that's something, man. So at 18 years old, you sold sold the lights, well,
program.
actually sold the software
Mhm.
for $2.2 million.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Now, man, now how did that feel? I know you were going through an issue with losing your dad and transitioning, but how did that feel to you?
At first it wasn't an interest to me at all, because I lost something that meant the most to me. I mean, the man that saved my life and made me who I am.
Right.
But I took, I learned from again, from a very early age, being very frugal of finances, of save every penny you get.
Right.
So instead of me going out buying a car or something crazy, I actually invested all of that money and positioned the FCC into allocation spectrum, that I wanted to start my own telecommunications company.
Now, it's funny because I was reading about that, and a lot of times on Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, we talk to people about their successes and their failures. And so when I was doing some research on you, I found out that when you were trying to get that FCC license, it took a lot of your money.
Took every single penny I had. So I mean, and it's funny too, because the same day I was gonna quit is the same day I got approved.
Real? Are you serious?
Yes,
Man.
sir.
All right. So let's backtrack a little bit. All right. So now, you get the 2.2 million. You sell
Mhm.
your software for that, and now you're looking to get an FCC license for telecommunications. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So when initially starting out,
Mhm.
um, what we did was we petitioned for the very rural and underserved communities. So when you look at it's parts of the country right now that's still in 2G and 3G
Got
that that don't have the infrastructure. And the bigger carriers, they don't look at coming into a very, nowhereville USA,
right,
putting that infrastructure there, and then the return on investment is just not there for a population of 3 or 4,000 people.
right.
So what we did was instead of cell towers, we used high elevation points. So we
Okay.
started putting up these access points and receivers all around. So we use windmills. We use I even used a barn before.
Okay.
And they gave us WiMAX to cover up to 30 miles with non-line of sight. So
Okay.
that's how we kind of started out and expanded. So we initially started in the broadband spectrum.
Okay.
And then we ventured over to the voice communication.
Okay. So now it's funny because a lot of times people think you start businesses and all of a sudden it's from zero to the top, right?
Yeah.
So you had a lot of success at a young age. Tell us about the day that you were going to quit, but you finally got that approval, man. Tell us what was going through your head that day.
I was very angry with the world. I was like, oh goodness, I have wasted all of my money and resources and back and forth to from retainers, from attorneys to just pretty much everything. And every time I've got 10 steps ahead, they will come back with a set of questions that would be, to knock me back 30 to 50, steps back.
Right.
And it wasn't them. It would be, again, it's the big name lobbyists that works for the CLACs and the local exchange carriers that don't want to let you, especially an African American,
Right.
venture into the telecom spectrum. So
Right.
it was very difficult. And I mean, for every simple question that they ask, it may have been a basic question. I would elaborate with a 2-3 page, response, just that one question to just
Right.
make sure I go over everything completely.
Right.
And it just goes back to show you, like, when you really believe in something, put your all into it and it will pay off. I mean, for some ventures, they don't, but I mean, you never know what could have happened. So just given that chance, that was all that mattered to me.
So were you going to give up because your funds were exhausted and you didn't have any more money to fight, or you were just to the point mentally where you said, you know what, it's a wrap?
It was bureaucracy for me.
Okay.
It was, from the funds being exhausted to just abnormal fees that just didn't apply to me, and then just the bureaucracy of trying to become a public service utility just made it very, very difficult.
Now, do you think that had anything to do with your age and also your ethnicity?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
gotcha. Keeping you out of the game. I hear you.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So now let's jump forward a little bit to figures communication. So I know you have a plethora of things going on. Tell us a little bit about figures communication, and you being I presume, are you right now the only African American communications or cell phone or telephone company right now?
Yes, sir. The 3600 band. Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. All right. Congratulations, brother. Keep
Thank you.
keep up doing what you're doing, man, because it's an amazing story. So
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit now. You got the FCC go ahead, and now tell us about your inventions, because I know you're an inventor also, as being a super entrepreneur. Tell us about Figures Communications and what was the first product or service that you came out with?
So the first product was the Figures X1, which was
Okay.
a development phone that we did for rural areas.
Okay.
This phone right here was designed to only work in certain geographical areas. So when it traveled outside of that area, it wouldn't work.
Gotcha.
And this was for very small townships in South Georgia.
Okay.
When building that phone, again, all of our products are innovative, they're different.
Okay.
But when actually building that phone, I really wanted to take that to the consumer market, because personally for me, we got tired of people coming into our operation saying, hey, can you activate my iPhone or activate my Samsung? So we wanted to build our own phone. So that led us to building our first commercial phone, which was the Figures F1.
Wow. That's amazing, man. So, in terms of the manufacturing, did you manufacture like most of the companies overseas, or did you manufacture here in the States?
So for here starting out, we manufacture in-house. I was actually building phones out of my garage.
Are
So
you serious, bro?
I didn't have the resources. So
Right.
I was building phones out of my garage, doing everything, the packaging down in South Florida in a small facility in Doral,
Okay.
and packaging up everything here and shipping out.
Wow. The
One of the
molds and everything?
sir.
The molds, the foam
Oh
mold?
the the molding everything. I mean, we was building an average of about 40 phones a day.
Wow, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. And I know you guys are continuing to manufacture the handsets right now. So I wanted to jump ahead real quick, then I'm gonna come back because I want to ask you about the handsets. I know you have additional iterations now.
Mhm.
What are you guys up to now? The F3, is it?
Yes, sir. The F3. Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you're creating or building that, how the handsets, how has being able to integrate the manufacturing affected your profitability and also being able to help you control the vertical as opposed to outsourcing?
So it really depends on the volume level that you're looking for. For the manufacturing standpoint, from us, it's been pretty great in on the revenue side. For our phone alone, it's 36 components that make up the F3.
Okay.
And we actually control our BOM, which is our bill of material. So we get to
Wow.
we source and figure out, this is what we need, this is what we don't need, instead of having just a whole bunch of things that's not needed.
Right.
When you look at the big name companies right now, they'll continue to build something that's over and over, and they'll just put the name on it from a different generation.
Right.
But they do that because again, they're publicly traded, so it's not for the people's interest, it's for return on shareholders investment.
Exactly.
So I mean, every time we build something, again, we go above and beyond. Like, all of our products are innovative. Like, our first phone was the F1 that had a multi-user profile and had
Okay.
a mechanism that prevented texting and driving. So as soon as the phone was in motion over 10 miles per hour, it
Right.
would automatically put the SMS and data in airplane mode. So for the manufacturing aspect for us, it's been pretty great.
So does your company look to solve problems? Is that really what you're, a tech company that solves problems?
So personally, Freddie is the one that solves problems, but
Right.
the figure communication is going to be a leader in the telecom spectrum.
Okay.
I envision building figures communication as a household name. For just globally.
Global. So if you don't mind me asking, because a lot of times the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family, they'll DM me if I'm doing an interview. Hey man, how come you didn't ask this or that?
Mhm.
So I know they're going to ask me in terms of figures communications. How many employees do you have right now? What's your annual revenues?
So figures communication right now, we employ over 60 in-house employees, domestic, and majority of our employees, they have the option to either come in the office or work from home.
Oh, great.
And right now, I can tell you our company valuation right now is around $65 million.
Oh, that's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful, man. I wanted to talk about some of the innovation on some of your products. So you had mentioned the cell phone, and you said it has dual. I couldn't remember the exact word, but
So it had all of our phones come with dual SIM card capabilities,
okay.
and all of our phones come with multi-user profile.
So
And
yeah, tell us a little bit about that. That's what I wanted to get. Multi-user.
so so the multi-user profile is actually perfect because a lot of our major clients are health organizations.
Okay.
And when you think about the healthcare spectrum of a provider, he has a personal phone and then he
Right.
has a company issue phone. With a figures phone, that combines into one. So with the
Right.
multi-user profile, you can actually press one button, say sign out, sign into a guest profile, and you can hand your phone off to anyone.
Wow.
Your children to play with it on the consumer level, but on the professional aspect of it, you have two phones in one. You have your personal phone and your company issue phone. And then with
Wow.
the dual SIM card capabilities, it puts two SIM cards into one phone, which, initially is two phone lines in one device.
Right. So wow, that's amazing, man. So if can they both be active at the same time so I can get
Yes, sir.
personal calls, okay, and business calls?
Yes, sir.
Man, look, I need to call you. I'm gonna show you this right here.
Oh no, we're gonna
Business and
switch you out.
personal.
We're gonna switch you out. And another cool thing about our feature is our not just from our phones, but on the telecom side
Hmm.
is when you think about traditional three-way calling, you can
Right.
do a multiple conference calls. With a figures phone, you can add up to 16 callers at one time.
Whoo. Oh man. I know where I'm going as soon as this interview is over, bro. But I'm
Definitely.
going.
It's Cyber Monday, so we got 50% off on everything.
Oh, that's what's up. All right. But man, yeah, when I was doing research and I heard about that, I was like, man, that's exactly what I need, man.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
tell us about I know you have some different technology when it comes to your earbuds too, man, in terms of different languages. So
Right.
tell us a little bit about your F, what did they call F buds, right?
F-Buds, correct.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
F-Buds are a patent technology. When they're paired with the figures F3, if someone calls you speaking Spanish or French, it will automatically translate that into real time into English or any preferred language that you have on your figures phone.
Man, that's insane, brother. What made you think? What made you come up with that, man?
Well, looking at a lot of and again, all of our products, are solution based to some different issues.
Right,
But having some providers that was going back and forth with patients and
right,
looking at what they're dealing with. So instead of them, talking into a translator and then
right.
they're getting the script out, I was like, we could build something for that. Let's put the transcript and the translator into the phone and then have that interconnect with the earbuds.
Man, that's amazing, brother. Are there any other products, physical products that you guys have? Or
Oh yes.
okay,
So
tell us
we
a little bit about those too.
have the Figures F55 smart television. That is a 55-inch smart TV that's 4K UHD.
Mhm.
That has Prolithium already built inside.
Okay,
So Prolithium is a enterprise control solution that allows you to control the television like a mobile device management system
okay,
or a AT, like maybe at your home right now you have an ATA box
right.
from a receiver from Dish Network or Direct TV. That's
Mhm.
already built inside of our television. So as soon as you get our TV, you pop it out the box, give it an internet connection, and you got cable right then and there.
Oh man, that's hot, bro.
And we have an AI speaker that we have built, and we're continuously building on that every day with our community, artificial intelligence. So it's
Okay,
a smart speaker that says you can say, "Hey Figures, order me a pizza," or "Hey Figures, what's my traffic route today to work?" And it'll give you
wow.
all the information you need, and it actually learns you. So it takes about 2 weeks when you
Okay,
first get it, and
wow.
the only thing you need to do is just pair your phone with it and just go. Leave it plugged up at your house, and
Mhm.
that's it.
Man, so it almost sounds like a portable Alexa or something like that.
Exactly. It's a community forum, and it learns you in the artificial intelligence. Mix that into our platform, and it
Hmm.
just builds around your entire profile. And I share it when I say community forum as building out from different other environments and engagements with other people. If they're running, they're jogging,
Right.
if they're just maybe going to lunch. So it learns that interaction.
Okay. So, oh man, so it actually learns that based on your usage and how you use
Mhm.
the actual product. Now, do you
Correct.
ever think you're going to come out with a product that's going to rival Alexa or Google Home or anything of that nature, or are you going to stick in the mobile space?
Well, that's actually what the F55 speaker is.
Okay.
So the figure speaker that's what is built upon.
Okay.
Initially, it was built upon as a wireless inductive charger. That I built the concept around that. As soon as you're 5 meters within range, your phone automatically starts charging. But due to the Department of Energy and bureaucrats,
Mhm.
it's that has been kind of delayed right now.
Okay.
And so we instead of giving up on it, we molded it around artificial intelligence.
Okay. So let me jump back to that real quick. So what you're saying is if I'm walking around my house or could it be anywhere? I know you're having an issue with, getting it approved right now. But
well, no,
I'm,
that's all this already out. So
oh,
it's already
out.
out. Yeah, it's out and available on the market. So, but no, so initially when we first built it, we wanted to have it for wireless inductive charging.
Gotcha.
So what we did was we just circumvented back around and said, hey, listen, we'll just do this as a community forum. So we have it out and available right now on the market.
All right. So clarify this up with me. So if I can be at my house right now and my phone could be charging while I'm walking around.
Not that one. Not that one. That was the Department of Energy. They
okay. That's what I was.
One. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to clarify.
But but right now the F speaker, you could be walking. It'll tell you how many steps you're taking that day. It could tell you, if you walk outside your house, it'll automatically send you a notification that says, hey, it's 7:59 a.m. The route from your home to the office is such and such, and it's maybe a traffic delay here. So let me give you an alternative route.
That's crazy, bro. That's insane, man. That's amazing technology, man. So, do you have a team that thinks up or comes up with these solutions, or is all of that you, man?
So I have a think tank, in an initiative team around me, but primarily all of the innovations come from me, and we work with all my team, and I work together to bring these into fruition. So there's really no I in team. So
right,
we're all working on this together.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, man, and I mean this in a good way. You're a mad scientist, brother, and that's a good.
Thank you.
But being able to visualize things, identify issues, problems, and then create those solutions. So I talk about on the podcast all the time. One of the easiest ways to make money is to solve problems.
That's it.
You find a problem. They don't care. People don't care if you're black, yellow, green, purple, whatever. It's all about solving the problem. So if you can solve problems, you can market and actually present your product or service as a solution, then people are going to buy it, man. So I definitely like that concept, man.
Thank you. And then go above and beyond, no matter what you do. Just don't just deliver the product or service, go above and beyond with it.
And it sounds that's what you're doing with everything that, product that you're coming out with, man.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you in terms of marketing, because in the long run, we're all in the marketing business. There's other competitors there, even though I got, a great podcast, there's other competitors out there doing the same thing I'm doing. How do you differentiate yourself in terms of marketing? What allows you in Figures Communications to cut through the noise of all of the other big, communications companies, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint and all that stuff? How do you guys position yourself and make a dent in that industry?
So what we do something that's a little bit different. We'll let you try out our products, and we ask you to tell a friend. When you think about consumer electronics, everyone always thinks about the first big brand name.
Right.
They don't think about there's other companies out there that manufactures and does the exact same thing, but maybe better, instead of having a big brand name and a more expensive price on it. So what we did was we did our grassroots campaign. We went, started very small and, city by city and expanded out from there.
Okay. And when you say grassroots, was it, do you have any physical locations, stores or anything? And have you ever thought about that as creating a dealer network?
So the physical, so a dealer network, we do offer that as of today.
Okay.
The physical brick and mortar, Amazon have shown us that's dead.
Right.
And especially right now with COVID. What we do have is a shipping platform that's, out of this world with our courier service. If you order today, you'll receive it tomorrow. If you're in the state of Florida and you order today, you'll receive it today.
Oh man. So that's logistics right there.
Yes, sir.
That's all.
And we make it convenient for people. So we ship up to 10 p.m. at night. So, they'll be getting that, whatever product that they order the same day. If they're in the state of Florida, if they're not, the next day they'll have it.
Now, I'm probably going to know the answer to this question. Did you create the logistics software?
Yes,
No,
yes, yeah.
I
That
figured.
was very yeah. Because it was no out of the can solution for what we were trying to do.
Right.
And we know we looked at Amazon's fulfillment operation of Atlas leasing of
Okay.
all of the Amazon vans and the Amazon planes, but that's not Amazon, that's Atlas.
Right.
So instead of us trying to create the wheel, we built our own platform and used our own local couriers in the area to deliver our products.
Wow. Man, so in terms of the availability for the Figures phone, the F3, is that available nationwide?
Yes, sir. It's available nationwide and globally. We
Okay.
ship every single day, domestic and abroad. We've shipped to over 100 countries, and I mean we have a customer pretty much in every state within the United States.
So let me ask you from a marketing perspective. So I like to sometime as the old folks say, put it where the goats can get it.
There you
So
go.
so the Figures F3, what are some of the benefits versus some of the major carriers out there? I know the technology is like out of this world, so we
Yes,
all
sir.
know that. But what are some of the other benefits you would say?
One of the most beautiful benefits is affordability. The
Okay.
technical specifications behind the big name companies, their products, the average consumer don't even know, half of what's in the phone.
Right.
Figures F3 comes with some of the most advanced specifications, such as the camera, the processor, the multi-user profile, the dual SIM card capabilities, and our unlimited terabit of storage. So you don't have to worry about paying for cloud storage for your photos. Everything is stored right then and there on our network, absolutely free.
Wow. So in terms of compatibility, in terms if I want to download my photos and everything, same compatibility as any
Yes,
other.
sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Everything is interchangeable, and we have a setup feature that's on the Figures F3 that interchanges with iOS, Android, Windows device, and I went back in the day to BlackBerry, even though
Man.
not that many of those left around, but you can actually sync and download everything into the Figures F3 and continue to use your phone as normal function.
Oh man, I'm telling you, bro, and this is no joke. I'm literally as soon as I get off of this interview, I'm literally going to go and order one of your F3s, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
And our
definitely
phone
want.
is globally unlocked, so it works on every single network.
Oh wow.
We have all 57 LTE bands, so it's
Okay.
good to go.
Yeah. So now, how about if I'm traveling another country? Do I need to do anything? And let you know, like for example, like when I go to other countries with, I have Verizon right now. I'll let them know, hey, I'm traveling to such and such. Now I don't know why they
When
need.
you'll be back. So yeah.
Yeah.
So what we have we have different plans that set up. So we have what's called a Globetrotter plan.
Okay.
Globetrotter plan. If you set it up here domestically, when you travel abroad, it automatically kick in. So you don't have to worry about calling us saying, "Hey, I'm going to the Bahamas or
Right.
Jamaica for the weekend." But even though Bahamas is in our network as
Right.
domestic, but if you're going abroad, you don't have to call Figures Communications at all. It's already set up in your phone. You're good to go.
Now that's what's up, man. I got a couple more questions for you, bro. And once again, I appreciate you taking out the time to share with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint
Of course.
family. You've got a tremendous amount of success already at a very young age, and you put the work in, and everything that you've gotten, you deserve. Where do you see yourself personally and Figures Communications in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, we have so many different concepts that we're trying to bring into fruition. We're going back and forth with the USPTO, the Patents Office,
Yep.
to bring those ideas and our concepts into reality. The next 5 years, I see us as being a global telecommunications leader for not just telecom but for consumer electronics.
Oh
I mean,
wow.
there's so many different things that we're building right now. Something personally that I'm working on is a sub-zero medical freezer that could store the COVID vaccine at minus 80 degrees Celsius.
Oh
So
man.
that's something right now that I've pretty much perfected, and we're just getting all the logistics in order because we're using liquefied natural gas.
Okay.
So with that, you have to be very, very, very careful. So just putting all that together, and we're going to get ready to start putting some into some local hospitals here in Florida.
Cool. In terms of some of your consumer electronics, I know you're working on some stuff and you may not want to give out any information, but I know you have the television right now. Anything else that you could share with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family?
For in healthcare, we have a smart blood glucometer.
Okay.
When you think about the standard glucometer that's on the market right now, when you check your blood sugar, how does someone keep a log of it? They actually have to write it down.
Exactly.
And they have to take it to the doctor. You know, it takes 157 seconds to go into a diabetic coma. If it's the weekend or the middle of the night and you wrote down your glucose readings, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Our glucometer, as soon as you check your blood sugar, it instantly shares those results to your cell phone, shares it with your closest relative, shares it in your electronic health records, and it shares it with your provider. Wow. So if your blood sugar spiked or abnormally low, everyone will get an Amber Alert notification at one time. Not a text message, but an Amber Alert.
Amber Alert, wow.
So if it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's going to wake you up. Also, when you get this Amber Alert type of notification, the same concept that I put into my father's shoe with the two-way DTT communication system, I imported that into the glucometer. So a doctor can press a button, you know, from his office and say, or, you know, a charge nurse and say, hey, I need to get in touch with, you know, Freddie. I need to schedule an appointment to come into my office. They'll come in as a two-way right into the glucometer. So that instantly would, you know, get the patient's attention and say, okay, it's time for us to go in. But before the patient and the provider hangs up with each other, a 5-digit code will pop up on the glucometer, and that the patient will have to provide that code to the provider in order for them to type that into the EMR. So that keeps everything compliant. That keeps the patient compliant, and it keeps the provider compliant. As you know, I did speak with the patient, so it's not hearsay.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing, brother. This brings to light another question I have. So I've been a serial entrepreneur for 25 plus years, over 17 different businesses, and I do business coaching too. And one of the biggest questions, and I want to ask you this, is that as an entrepreneur, sometime we might have, my wife says, I think you got ADD because you got all of these ideas going on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So she tells me that all the time. But how do you manage all of those ideas that pop into your head, and how are you able to move and effectively move forward on those ideas? Is there a certain strategy that you use, or is it just innate for you? How does that work?
So before we build any, for me personally, what I do is I usually carry around a notepad, and I have a voice recorder with me, so I can, you know, write it down right then and there, and I record myself, you know, talking about it. But before I bring any concept into fruition, I always look at what is the idea? What is what would be the service area, and how could it be a solution to something that's on the market right now? For me personally, I don't like to fight on many battlefronts. I like to focus on one area, make that perfected, even though there's no such thing as perfection.
Right.
And then I will move on to the next venture. Personally for me right now, I am involved into about 30 different areas of different products, not just telecommunication, but in different areas for aviation, the Pfizer COVID vaccine, medical freezer, and in healthcare. But I focused all of my energy onto what can I accomplish first, and what can I close out and to go to the next. Because when you fight on multiple battlefronts, you're going to lose every time.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice, man. Great piece of advice, folks. So BEB family, let the light bulb go off right there. You hear what Brother Freddie just said. You can't fight on multiple fronts at the same time. In terms of your team or your network, I know most businesses are only as good as their team. How do you find good employees, and is there a certain way that you vet them to find out if they're right for your culture?
So for me, when vetting and when I go down to HR and kind of like, snoop in on who they're going to hire, I've always liked to learn the person personally. I like to learn what are their moral values. And that's one thing that's that means everything to me. Personally, there's ways to make money without taking advantage of people. Definitely. And when you look at some of the corporations, they just don't care. They will bleed you dry and then send you an invoice. With Figures Communication, we've always believed in, honesty and integrity and giving the best product and service that we can offer. Right. So I like to learn the employees. I like to, and, I don't really use the word employees. I always say, team members. Teams, so I learned all of my team members. I learned their personal values. I learned their family, and I learned that, how do they operate? What kind of person you are? What do you like to eat? That kind of thing, and really get to know them. Because, you don't know who they're on the phone with. They could be on the phone with, someone that says, "Hey, I want to purchase, 100,000 phones." And if they haven't, if they're a nasty character, or they have, ill will intentions, that could ruin the whole entire sale right then and there. So I learn people personally first, and then I go to, okay, what are your skill sets? Okay, this is what you can do. Okay, this is what you're strong in this. So let's kind of move you around and we get the best of the best.
So now, did it take you a while to figure that out? Because you talked about in the initial part of the interview that your best friend was your computer. So you were focusing on, doing what you enjoy doing. So did it take you a while to learn people or learn how to manage and delegate or help people delegate, different projects?
At first for me, it was very difficult, starting out, because I did everything.
Right.
Again, because of limited resources, I built my own cell phone towers. I laid concrete. I laid the Cat5 cables. I mean, I did everything. So for me to give up that kind of control, it was difficult for the first few years, because I would get up in the morning at 4 a.m. and don't get home until 12. I would make sure that, orders are complete, orders are shipped out, orders are delivered, the warehouse logistics, everything is going smoothly, everything just organized. And, putting people in place, I learned that you have to trust the right people, and that goes back to learning a person's character. Right. Because when you try to micromanage, again, that's fighting on multiple battlefronts, you're going to lose. So that's why, I put the best trusted people around that has the best, that have the company's best intentions to continue to grow. And, I entrusted them with everything.
Now that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny because in order for companies to grow, a lot of times we're going to have to release or relinquish some of that control. And I know for founders, myself included, it took a long time for me to be able to do that, because I thought, wow, nobody's going to do it
right
as well as I'm going to do it. But guess what? Sometimes we don't need them to do as well as we do it. As long as good enough is good enough. So that can allow me to do things that are at a higher level that are going to be more impactful to the company in the long run. So speaking of that, Freddie, what does your normal day look like? Are you still into the programming, or are you more on the macro side where you're overseeing everything?
So for initial programming, for like building our phone, for building our new phone operating system, I'm into every single component of it. Every code, every line of script, I mean, pretty much everything. Gotcha. On the manufacturing aspect, once we create a bomb of 5,000 to 10,000 different units, I kind of walk away from it. But in the initial stages of just manufacturing that, I'm day-to-day operation on that, because I want to make sure that every component is there and that nothing is missed. You're not going to miss a capacitor. You're not going to miss inserting additional power source here. So again, we have to make sure before we stamp our name on it that this is proven, this is working, and this is good to go.
Man, I got three quick questions for you, because I don't want to hold you too long.
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Speaking of stamping your name on it, what made you decide to use your last name as the company name?
Because going back to my father, he was my everything, and I wanted to continue to keep that name growing. I mean, when you look at different companies right now, you look at Ford, it became from Henry Ford. You
Right.
look at Wells and Henry, Wells Fargo and Loomis.
Mhm.
So again, I wanted to keep that, going. My name have drawn criticism from some weird people
I
that
got you.
call our call center and say some weird things. But hey, you again, they criticized the 44th president for his name. So
Exactly.
you keep going.
Got a thick skin now, but that makes a lot of sense though, in terms of honoring your parents and and yourself. And once again, you made a great point. You got Ford, you got Wells Fargo, you got Lehman. Well, they're not even around anymore.
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley, all of that type of stuff. So that makes a lot of sense, man. For the entrepreneurs that are watching this and are listening to this, and the prospective entrepreneurs, what would be your biggest piece of advice in terms of starting your business?
The biggest piece of advice is to make sure whatever you do, no matter what it is, that you have a passion for it. Don't go in, thinking about the money. Again, you're gonna have to think about how to keep the lights on,
Right.
but just do not be money driven. Because you're gonna fail at it. I mean, I've seen so many different businesses that have came to us for investments and support, and
Mhm.
every single one of them that was just focused on return on investment, they failed. And I've always teach people, just have a passion for what you do and make sure you go above and beyond when you do it. If you tell somebody I'm gonna be there at 10 o'clock, be there at 9:30. If you say I'm gonna have this delivered by Friday, actually physically delivered on Thursday. So just to go above and beyond, because customer service is everything. And
Man,
that is 80% of your business.
that sounds like old school wisdom from your parents, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
know? Definitely. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Um, is there anything that you'd like to add to the interview, or anything that I forgot to pull out or just didn't pull out that you'd like to share with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family?
Yeah, definitely. Just don't let your circumstances define who you are. You may have a great business idea, and your business may not, may be going a little bit slow today, but tomorrow is an entirely different day. And I mean, if you continue to work hard at it, it will grow. Because for me, when I personally started out, it
Yeah,
was very difficult. I mean, it was so many challenges, so many obstacles in my way to, I was going to give up. But you can never give up on something that you have a passion for.
definitely. And I'm sure it probably was a little difficult for you too, being as young as you are,
Yes.
dealing with some of these companies. You're 16, 17 years old, and they're like, what?
Ex-
Who's
ex-
this guy?
especially when people wanted to pay you in candy, man. That was
Right?
that was kind of unique.
You stopped taking candy, right?
Yeah, and I was like, no.
That's what's up, man. And the last question I have for you, brother, if there is one person that you could talk to, have a conversation with, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I would say probably I think of Andrew Carnegie.
Andrew Carnegie. And why would that be?
I would say Andrew Carnegie, because I mean, this guy, he made he started a company, made an enormous fortune, sold it, and then turned around and saw his steel and all of his products that he created being used for war and mass killings. And he dedicated his entire life to not just, well, to giving back, to stop what was actually created. So it'd just be an interesting conversation with that, to see how you go from this enormous net worth, and but you die with a broken heart, seeing what you created and being
Right.
used for the
Wrong
wrongdoing.
reasons. Yeah. Brother Freddie Figures, man, I appreciate you so much, man, for sharing with the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family. Brother, you have an amazing story. I just love your energy, man. I love the way that you look at things, man. You're looking at things with a positive outlook, and you're not making any excuses for where you are and where you started, brother. And that's what we got to do. We have to hold
Sure.
ourselves accountable. You want to be successful? Hey, it pay. You got to pay to be successful.
That's it.
When you just said that you be up 4 in the morning, come in at 12 midnight, that's commitment, brother.
Yes,
That's
sir.
commitment. Yeah. And we respect that, man. We appreciate it. And like I always tell the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint family, anytime we have guests on, please support our guests, support this brother. He's doing tremendous things. And like I said, I'm about to hit this website, man. Let me get your contact information, where people can find out about you and also to purchase some of your products, man. I almost forgot that.
Yes, sir. So our website is figgers.com. That's figgers.com. That's for all of our telecommunications.
Cool.
And personally for me, you can find me on social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Freddie Figgers, FREDDIE FIGGERS.
My man, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man, for sharing with the BEB family, man.
Thank you, Brother Jones. Thank you for having me.
All right. That was an amazing interview with my man, Freddie Figgers, the founder of Figgers Communications. Make sure you guys go to figgers.com and check out everything that Freddie has going on. And if it's something that you like or something that you need, please make sure you support the brother. He's doing tremendous things. Now, before we get to the last quarter of the show where I give my takeaways, I just want to share all my social media contact information and my resource links. So at the top of the show, I mentioned my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. So if you're interested in building a successful, sustainable e-commerce business, go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy, $14.95 for the print version, $9.95 for the digital version. Now, if you're watching this on video, the actual print book is right behind me on the counter. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, I created a compatible online course, my flagship course titled Brand Builder Academy Elite. You can go to bbaelite.com, and it is a 14-week inclusive program that takes you from point A to point Z in building either a physical products brand or a digital products brand. So go to bbaelite.com. Make sure you use the coupon code BBAELITE100. Save $100 off of the fee. It is only $97. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show, I created 2 platforms to help circulate dollars in the worldwide black economy. The first one is besmartbyblack.com. So if you are a black product producer and you want to sell your products to black consumers worldwide, upload your product information. It is totally free. besmartbyblack.com and sell to black consumers all over the world. Now, for you freelancers, I didn't forget about you guys. So if you do anything on Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com, upload your information to hireblackfreelancers.com, HIRE, blackfreelancers.com, and connect with black consumers and black business owners that want to hire black freelancers. So also, I wanted to mention too, the new rebranded, rebooted Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Academy is up and is still running. And we got new content going in there every other week. So you can go to bebacademy.com, get 5 days free access to all the content. So any training or courses that you want to take, you have complete free access for 5 days. Just go to bebacademy.com. Now, in terms of connecting with me, family, if there's anything long, please hit me on my email, jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com, JAYJONES. And I know I'm giving y'all a lot, but you can also go to bebconnect.com. That's bebconnect.com. Everything that I just said and that I'm getting ready to say is going to be on that page on my website, bebconnect.com. Facebook, you can hit me at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Twitter, jjones001. Instagram, jjones4real. That's JAYJONES, the number 4, REAL. YouTube, go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because I have additional content that is on YouTube that is not on the podcast. And yes, the podcast does come out on YouTube, but there's still additional content there. LinkedIn, just go search for J. Jones Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. If you want to be included in the BEB text line for notifications and special reminders, text BEB to 555-888. That's BEB to 555-888. And if you're on Clubhouse, check me out at I am J Jones. That's at I am J Jones on Clubhouse, one of the newest social media platforms out there that people are really rocking with. So now let's get ready to do this last section of the program, and we're going to do some takeaways about the interview with my man Freddie Figures. That was an amazing interview with Mr. Freddie Figures, and I just want to give you guys a couple of quick takeaways, things that really stood out to me in the interview. One of the things is based on Freddie's upbringing, being abandoned by his biological mother, and basically left outside, and being blessed to be adopted by the Figures family. He talked about really it's not the way you start, but it's the way you finish. And so there were all types of barriers for Freddie growing up, but he didn't let that stop him. One of the things that I really liked was he had an inner drive. And so he didn't try to fit in with other people or be like everybody else. He was true to himself. So he was into computers. He enjoyed reading. And what he did was he used that and he leveraged the talents that he had and basically leveraged that to the success that he has today with Figures Communications, valued at over $60 million plus, and 60 some odd employees. Another thing that he really touched on that I like was he was talking about doing things that you're passionate about, not focusing on the money. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way. A lot of times we chase money all the time. And what we find out at the end is that that's really not necessarily the best way to do it. So if you're doing something or you're in something that you're passionate about, you're going to be able to run through those walls, jump over the hurdles, go under the obstacles because it's something that you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about something and you're just chasing the money, anytime you run into a brick wall or something that you think you can't get around, an obstacle, then you're probably going to quit. And then what happens is it's a vicious cycle. You're going to start again. It's like, oh man, all right, now let me find some other money to chase somewhere else, as opposed to just really honing in and focusing on what you want to do. So I had a conversation with one of my coaching students the other day. I just kind of want to share or paraphrase how that went. And the young brother was talking about eventually, I asked him where did he want to be in a couple of years. And he said he wanted to be out on his own doing, writing and things of that nature. And so the question was, if money was no object, what would you be doing? Right? And so if you had all your bills taken care of, your living expenses, basically he was saying, this is what I would do. I would write. And I said, cool. I said, so the objective is, let's figure out a way how you can get to that point. And it always comes down to passive income. Cash flow plus passive income equals freedom. So I asked him, I said, so why are you working? And the answer was for a paycheck. And so if you ask people that, most people are working for the paycheck, not because they're passionate about what they do. And so once you get to a certain space where that just doesn't make sense for you anymore, right now you may have to do that based on your situation. But when it comes to a point where it doesn't make sense anymore, you got to figure out a way to get there. So work on things that you're passionate about and the money will follow. So once again, family, you know how we do. Make sure you check out figures.com. Check out all the products and services that they provide. Freddie is an amazing young brother, only 31 years old. And once again, you don't have to be 50 years old to start a business. So you see his actual progression from young entrepreneur now into an adult entrepreneur. And the faster you can start on that track, remember, it has to be the right time for you, the better off you're going to be in the long run. And I say this each and every week, guys, before we close on out. We've been getting more and more downloads, and that's attributed to you, the BEB family. Please continue to spread the word about the podcast and the blog. And once again, it's more than that. It's a movement. It's about building an economic power base in the Black community. Love you guys. See you same time next week. Peace.